I've been asked by a couple of people, what is the sweet spot when it comes to claiming in terms of finding quality horses? Personally, for me, you need to stay between 20 to 50,000. 20 can be on the low side. You can still find good horses in that range. You just have to target meets like Keeneland and Saratoga, where there's just everybody's trying to run horses cheaper to try and win races at that meet. But 20 to 50, you can find some quality horses within those ranks. To me personally, anything lower than 20. Horses cost the same to take care of every single day, whether they were a $20,000 claim or an $8,000 claim. And the reason why I steer towards $20,000 to $50,000 horses is because the purses that those horses will run for is more than you will when you're running an $8,000 horse or a $10,000 horse. Can you make money with those horses? Yes. Those horses are normally in those ranks because they are what they are. There's only minor room for improvement with certain horses. Every now and again, you might hear a story of a great claim for $10,000 or a great claim for $12,500. They're few and far between. You're mainly going to find better claims that you have upward mobility with between 20 and 50,000, because some of those horses are in barns where it's either a massive barn and the horse might be falling through the cracks. And so by moving it into a better scenario, that horse could potentially take off in the right direction. The issue that you run into when you're in the cheaper horse claiming ranks is, what was the care of that horse before it was claimed? So you need to think of horses like cars, okay? If you have a Mercedes top class car and it's taken care of, by somebody who has enough money to take care of the Mercedes, all the maintenance work is going to be done on that car. It's going to be in pretty good shape when they go to resell that vehicle. Might be a couple minor tweaks you could do to make that car a little bit better, but with the horses, obviously there's bigger tweaks you can do, but you need to look at it you want to claim from scenarios where you understand there can be upward mobility, but the horse is at a price point that the proper care would have been given to that horse, so you don't end up with a massive issue. When you go into the lower claiming ranks, with the cheaper horses, those horses are not necessarily in operations, and some are in good operations, but more times than not, because of the lower chance to make purse money with these lower claiming horses, they're getting not the same care. So the oil, as you're talking with a car, the oil is not going to be changed every time it needs an oil change. The fuel that's going to be put into that vehicle is not as good as with other cars. And you might say, well, yeah, but if I put it in a better barn with better fuel and better care and better this, horses are not machines. So over time, if a horse is in a scenario where it's not receiving the care that it needs, arthritis develops. Small things start accumulating over time that no matter what you do, you'll only have a minimal turnaround on those horses. So I like to claim out of scenarios where I know there's upward mobility in those horses and they're in stables where they're getting a good quality of care, and that moving them to a great quality of care will change that athlete completely. So I primarily focus 20 to 50. Sometimes I'll look at horses in the 62.5 and the $80,000 races. There's reasons for that. In those scenarios, I'm very much looking specifically for horses that could be stakes horses. With that comes a lot of risk, because if they have the potential to be stakes horses, why is the trainer putting them in those $80,000 races? There are chances you will find horses in those races. There was a horse last year that I love that was in a race, and we dropped a slip on a different horse and lost, but Tejano Twist was that horse. That horse was a very good horse the whole time. I felt he always just maybe needed a trainer change. He was claimed for the $80,000, and he's been a stakes horse ever since. So you're specifically going into those races, targeting horses, and you have to be right, which is why there's quite a bit of pressure in those scenarios. You're targeting a stakes horse, because if they're not a stakes horse and you claim for 62.5 or 80, yeah, you might be able to put it back in the 62.5 and get that horse claimed from you. More than likely, when those horses don't turn out, you're going to have to drop them in for 40 or 50 to get the win. So you're in a safer position to claim between 20 and 50 when you're working in those scenarios.